This was supposed to be an election-free year for Californians, but no time off for our state's voters. The polls open again in just 3 weeks. Good evening, I'm Gloria Penner. California's special November election has Governor Schwarzenegger squaring off against labor unions, and the showdown is getting expensive. The governor has raised $34 million, including more than $4 million of his own money, to push his ballot measures. And meanwhile, the public employee unions representing teachers, firefighters, and police are spending at least $50 million to defeat the governor's initiatives. My guests tonight are Tom Conry, California Teachers Association board member, and Mark Price, co-chair of the Governor's Education Reform Coalition. They join me to present the pros and cons of Proposition 74, which would extend the probation period for new teachers, and Proposition 75, which would require the unions to get permission from their members each year to spend dues money on political campaigns. We begin with the measure aimed at teacher tenure. Proposition 74 would extend the probationary period for newly certified teachers to become permanent employees from 2 to 5 years. Now, Mark Price, you are a member of the Alpine School Board and support the governor's initiative. Why do we need Prop 74?
Because the existing law, which is a 2-year tenure, 2 years prior to hitting tenure, is just quite frankly not enough. And it's also not what most of the other states do. Most of the other states in the United States are 3 to 5 year probationary periods. So the 5-year period with 5 years of good reviews gives the principal, gives the district a real opportunity to see the teacher and to ensure that good teachers are what the district ends up with in the classroom. Well,
here we have a teacher sitting right here, Tom Conry. You've been teaching for 31 years. You sit on the board of the California Teachers Association, which is a union. Why do you and the union think Prop 74 is a bad idea?
Prop 74 will do absolutely nothing to improve education in California. Will do nothing to improve teacher performance in California. Mark mentioned that most of the states in the United States have a 3 to 5 year probationary period. There's only one state in this country that has a 5-year probationary period, and that is Missouri. And there's been no evidence to indicate that it has improved teaching whatsoever. The only thing that will improve teaching in California or anywhere is to have a strong mentoring program where teachers who need help can get help. Prop 74 does nothing to do that.
But suppose you have a teacher who needs help, gets help, and doesn't perform. So how do the districts get rid of a poor performing teacher now? Well,
there's the first and second year teacher, and then there's the teacher that's attained a status that some people call tenure, but is not tenure really, as we really know it. It's merely a status where they can get a hearing if they're going to be dismissed. We're talking 2 years right now, where a school district can dismiss a teacher without any problems whatsoever. It's very, very simple to dismiss a teacher in their first 2 years. And I would say that a school district should know within 2 years whether or not a teacher should be dismissed or not.
How do you respond to that, Mark? I mean, if a school district doesn't know if a teacher's good in 2 years, what's another 3 years going to tell them?
Well, it's going to give you more opportunity to see the teacher perform, how they act, how they don't act, how they react. A 2-year window is just too short a window, and I think that's why all the polls are showing that this particular proposition, of all the propositions, is doing extremely well. Teachers, principal, a friend of mine is a principal, very, very liberal Democrat, very good friend of mine. He was my biology teacher way back when, and he supports the increase in the teacher tenure because it just makes sense. If you try to remove a teacher once they've reached tenure, it costs $200,000 to $300,000 just in legal fees. That's money that the district could have taken and put in the classroom. So it does impact the classroom. We're better off spending the time getting to know the teachers before we give them tenure.
How do you respond to that, Tom?
Well, Mark's own organization, the California School Boards Association, is opposed to Proposition 74 because I believe they realize that it's not going to solve the problem.
If I may interject, it's not my organization. The California School Board Association happens to be an association of school boards, but it is not my organization, and I do not in any way acknowledge or support everything that they stand for.
Okay, go ahead.
But school board members all across this state who do belong to the California School Boards Association oppose this measure. And the reason they oppose it is because it's simply not going to do what it pretends to do. In California, if you are a second-year teacher or a third-year teacher or a five-year teacher or a teacher who's been teaching for 31 years, you can be dismissed. And Mark claiming that it costs $200,000 just isn't right. What you have to do is to prove it at a hearing. Now, if a school district chooses to hire 5 or 6 lawyers to make that case, that's their decision. But they can do it by just having the evaluation documentation and making their case.
How would Prop 74 change the way poorly performed teachers are being dismissed, could be dismissed?
Well, first of all, you have that 5-year window to see, are they poorly performing teachers? It gives you a broader window to make that sort of determination. And as far as whether it costs that money, the Los Angeles Times, not a stalwart of conservatism, has come out in support of Prop 74 for the very reasons that I'm putting forward, because it does cost the districts a whole heck of a lot, hundreds of thousands of dollars to get rid of a teacher. We've got a teacher in Riverside. Not only did it cost a lot of money, this is a teacher who sent a 4th grader out to her car to get a butcher knife, who cussed at the children, who told them to shut up, who played R-rated movies. They couldn't get rid of this teacher. They ended up paying her $25,000 cash to get rid of her. That's a problem.
Finally, I have to ask you this. It's been said that Proposition 74 would hurt teacher hiring. Let me start with you, Tom. Do you think that that teachers would be discouraged from coming to California?
Over the next 10 years, California is going to need 100,000 new teachers. Missouri is the only other state that has this 5-year probationary period. The California's colleges and universities are not going to be supplying enough teachers to go into the classrooms of California. Recruiting is going to be very difficult. Teachers are not going to want to come to a state that treat their teachers so poorly.
That's like saying, we're not going to stop people from doing drugs, so let's legalize drugs. Just because we're going to have a problem bringing teachers in, that doesn't mean we should put bad teachers in instructionary positions over our children. It's just wrong. It's unconscionable to even think that you would want bad teachers teaching our kids just because it looks like we're going to have a shortfall of teachers. I can't even believe, Tom, you make that as an argument.
Well, Proposition 74 does absolutely nothing to get at what you're talking about, bad teachers. It has no program to improve teachers. It has no program to help teachers. What it does is simply make teachers vulnerable to school boards and administrators who have a vendetta against them.
Last 10 seconds.
Yeah, what it does is it has a broader window of opportunity for principals and school districts and school boards to see how that teacher is performing and to make a more educated decision on whether to keep this teacher tenure or not.
Gentlemen, we will be back in a moment. Coming up next, we're going to be talking about Proposition 75. And now the debate over political dues. Proposition 75 would prohibit public employee unions from using member dues for political contributions without a yearly written consent from the individual employees. So, Mark Price, we start again with you. Why is this needed?
Because there are many, up to 40%, according to some statistics, union members that are not happy with the fact that the unions are spending dollars on political agendas that they do not agree with. And all that Prop 75 does is it provides the opportunity for the union members to say, this is, I do not want my money spent on political agendas, or I do. It gives them that opportunity.
Okay, Tom, what's wrong with letting public employees or opt out of letting the union spend a portion of their dues on political campaigns?
Gloria, this is a solution in search of a problem. There is no problem in the state of California for a public employee to opt out of having portions of their dues money spent on political activities. In my organization, the California Teachers Association, it's a very simple thing to do. All you have to do, if you do not want your money spent on political purposes, your dues, proportion of your dues, is to fill out this card. It takes 1 minute to fill it out, you turn it in, and forevermore, that portion of your dues that goes to politics will not go there.
There must be a reason why the unions are fighting against this so vigorously. Teachers, firefighters, and police unions are fighting with a series of attack ads on television. I'm going to show you a sample of that.
I knew I wanted to be a teacher when I was 5 years old. There's just something about teaching. It's imparting something to the kids. It's helping other people.
When the governor diverted billions from schools threatening our kids, teachers like Lisa Dickinson mobilized to stop him. Now Prop 75 slaps teachers and public workers with new restrictions, so the next time they can't fight back.
If Prop 75 passes, who's going to be there to speak for teachers and who's going to be there to speak for students?
Okay, Mark, I'm coming to you. At this point, polls show that Prop 75 is the only one of the 8 measures on the ballot with majority support of the voters. Are ads like the one we just saw working for or against the governor's reform campaign?
Well, it's dishonest, the ad. It's absolutely dishonest. When it says that the governor diverted $2 billion from the classroom, the governor took $2 billion with the permission of Barbara Kerr, the president of his organization, the California Teachers Association, and the California Teachers Association. So you have ads that they are running that are designed to mislead and misrepresent, and I think it's shameful for a teachers union, for a group of teachers who are supposed to be examples, shining examples of honesty and clarity, are running ads that they know to be totally and completely false.
Why this all-out assault to defeat Prop 75?
Well, let's first get to Mark's accusation here.
Okay,
the governor did refuse to pay back the $2 billion that he had borrowed. And yes, you are right. There was an agreement, and that agreement was written down and it is in law, and the governor's refusing to pay it back. And that is what we are complaining about. The governor owes public education $2 billion. That's what that commercial says, and that is the truth.
No, it's not what the commercial says. The commercial doesn't say anything about the time frame that the governor had to repay it, which was a 10-year window. And you know that. Barbara Kerr knows that. Your organization is well aware of that. They're the ones that agreed to it. And for them to say that the governor has short-shrifted the education system, they wanted $5 billion. He gave them $3 billion. This governor has given more money to education than any governor since the 60s.
I know that this is not about funding for public education. It's about Prop 75.
But that's what you and the unions are fighting for.
But this is all about the fact that this governor does not want to hear from the Teachers Association, doesn't want to hear from teachers about what he has done.
Again,
part of the payback
that's an incorrect statement.
No, it's not. Part of the payback.
I'll explain to you why.
Part of the payback for that $2 billion was that if money became available through increased revenue, that money would come back.
Gentlemen,
money became available and it wasn't brought back.
I don't want to give a short shrift to explaining the issue about 75. So this has to be very quick. Let me just say to you, Mark, that some people say the real motive behind the initiative is to curtail the influence of the Democratic Party.
I think the real meat and potatoes behind the initiative is to give everybody an opportunity within the democratic process to be heard. This will allow the members of the union to be heard on whether or not they want their dues to be siphoned off for political agendas that they don't like. Now, Tom showed us the little card that they have within the CTA for them to opt out. The problem is, and that came as a result of a Beck decision that says that they have to inform their people to give them a right to opt out. The problem is they're not informing their members.
Okay,
nationally, they're not informing their members.
Give Tom a chance.
Every member in the state of California knows about this. This form here is the membership form. The form that every member must sign in order to be a member of the California Teachers Association. And this same opportunity to opt out is right here on the membership form.
What are we talking about, Tom? How much of a member's dues goes to political campaigns?
$16.35 a year.
What percentage is that?
Well, the dues are approximately $600 a year.
So you're talking about, what, 1%?
A little bit more than that, maybe.
A little bit more.
But the issue here is that this Proposition 75 does absolutely nothing that's not currently allowed to be done. A member can opt out. All they have to do is sign it. And it's more efficient because they do it once and they're out. They don't have to do it every year.
So what is it about? Influence?
This is about the fact that if Proposition 75 passes, the cost of raising this money by going to every single member, 335,000 members in the California Teachers Association will have to be contacted every single year and asked, can we once again take the money out of your dues? That's going to cost a lot of money, which means there'll be less money left for teachers to complain about.
Is it a device? Is it a device, as he is saying?
Is it divisive?
A device.
A mechanism to make it happen?
A device to make it more costly to raise money for political campaigns.
I don't think so. It is a. From my perspective, there are too many people within the union who are frustrated because their monies are going to things that they don't like or that they don't want. And it's that simple. And to say that the unions don't like it because they don't want to have to get the opinion of their members on an annual basis, that just flies in the face of the whole democratic process.
Tom,
we don't want your opinion?
Tom gets the last 10
That's
seconds.
Fine.
Okay. The California Teachers Association is a very democratic organization. No policies or positions are taken without a vote of people who are elected by every member in this state. If a member of the California Teachers Association doesn't like what we're doing, take 1 minute and fill this card out.
Thank you so much, Tom Conry. Thank you, Mark Price.
Thank you.